Rachel Reeves, who's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, well, the current one, and people call her Rachel from accounts. She phones her husband, you see, and she said, darling, she said, I've got this jigsaw puzzle. I just can't get to the root of it. I just can't start with it. I just don't, it just doesn't make any sense. He said, well, what is the jigsaw puzzle supposed to be? She said, well, it's supposed to be this great big chicken. Really? So anyway, he drives over to her and he looks at it and he said, yes. He said, I think the best thing we can do is have a nice cup of tea and then put all the cornflakes back into the box. Yes, that's a schoolboy sort of behind the bike shed type joke, isn't it? It's scraping the barrel there, aren't I? It's not that smutty either. It's a safe one, isn't it? Anyway, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting show. And we've got our Defence Minister on tonight, survived the BS, but Steve. So good evening, Fockham Defence. And how is Defence? Is it standing up or is it falling over again? And then,
it's not too bad.
And then we got the Fockham, was it All Rail Transport Service? Is that have I got that right?
Specialist, if you wouldn't mind, Eric.
Specialist, sorry,
if that's
specialist.
okay.
Or farts for short, you know.
That's right.
That's right. So we got the farts tonight. Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome to the show. Now, tonight, sorry, a bit of German coming in there. I don't know where it come from. Anyway, tonight we're going to talk about propaganda. Bullshit, in other words. And everything from call centres and Sefton Delmar and people like that, you see, because our life is run by propaganda. And before we came on air, I was saying, did you know that the Lone Ranger, his shows used to go out to children in America in the 50s and 60s, and his horse apparently was named after the company, I think it's the bread company that financed the show. I think it might have been called Trigger Bread or something, I don't know. But yeah, so because shall I tell that terrible joke before we came on air? Do you reckon I could dare it? There's the Lone Ranger and there's Trigger riding over the prairie with two dustbins tied to his saddle. And he said, Trigger, where have you been? And he said, to the dump, to the dump, to the dump, 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 to the dump.
Eric, your mic is quite low.
Is it?
Yes.
Right. Just one moment. We will deal with that. Speak amongst yourselves, please.
It's like there's gremlins about. It's like when where I work, we use computers, and you put the computer in the bag or whatever, and put a wire in there, all neat and tidy. And when you come back to it the next day, it's in a knot. And you think, well, I didn't put it in there like that. There must be wire fairies and.
Well, I think there is a wire fairy actually on this computer because it keeps resetting my microphone, and I keep forgetting to reset the microphone. Why it does that, I do not know. Yes, I am bleeding low, aren't I? Yes, right. Is that a little bit better?
That's a little bit better, yeah.
I think that's better.
That's better,
and, yeah, that's it. Good evening, Sue Sparkle. Hello, everyone. Yes, Eric, I can hardly hear you. Yes, that's why. The reason why is because I wanted to do a little doily cart just before, I didn't want people to hear it. So I put a microphone down. Right, now we're talking about what's happening. I mean, customer service. That's a form of... yes, I can hear you now. Thanks, so. Way, that's very kind. Mind you are up in... where are you up in? I think you're up in...
Is it not Blackpool?
Blackpool. So it is a long way north, isn't it? So I might have to, shout a bit louder so you can hear me up there, But customer services. Have you had trouble with customer services? And, Blackpool, that's where you're from. Anybody, it's a barrier to stop you complaining, I found.
Yes. I find that if you go onto any website, if it's utilities or any provider of a service, no matter what it is, you click on contacts, and it lists frequently asked questions. And one of the questions that isn't on there is how the fucking hell do I contact you? That's the question we need answering.
Mm.
Oh, it always is.
I just want to speak to a human being that can understand what I'm saying and get the job done. It's not difficult. Shouldn't be.
I wonder if they have customer service in the army. Can you imagine it? Hello, army customer service. Yes, you're the enemy, are you? Yes, and it was friendly fire, and you got your granny got shot. Yes. Well, we'll put this through our official complaints department. Yeah, I could just sort of imagine that.
That would be a good job for me. That would be a good job for me. I would do well at customer service in the army. Yeah. I'd imagine the recruitment figures might go down a little bit.
20,000 calls a day, just tell them to piss off.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
I'm Abdul. I'm a bit pissed off because someone shot me up the arse from the SAS. just one moment. Let me put you through to your complaints department. Can you hold? Where are you calling from? Afghanistan. Yes, if you wait for about 2 hours, we'll get you through.
And the question is, what would the whole music be? Because that's the other thing as well. Why do they have the most annoying hold music? Why do they have something nice that you can sit? I suppose if you've called up and you're about to have a barney at someone because you've pissed off or something, if they had some jolly music to sing along to, they'd have no complaints, would they? Because you'd think, actually, I don't want to complain now. I'm quite happy now. Thanks.
Yeah, it's also, but it actually winds you up, the music that's on hold. So, and it sticks like chewing gum to your brain, and I'm positive they do it like that. But I'll tell you what I had the other day. I think it was Wix. They have shit music. You know what they call Muzak. It's like and you think, it sounds like a manic depressive trying to sing, And there was a bloke. There was a bloke humming to it. It was shit. He go, no. And he's behind me in the queue. I thought, like, saying, "Oh, sod off." I really felt like walking away from the queue and just coming back later. I just couldn't. It's really getting on my hooter. He was behind me as well. Oh, piss off, But anyway, we've got Arsburgers as fudge. Hello, Arsburgers as fudge.
Hello.
Nice to see you. To see you. Nice evening. But the other thing, Sefton Delmar, he's probably looking up from hell now and thinking, "That's my boys," when he sees all the propaganda that's going out now. And what it says at the beginning here, I mean, one of his statements was, and this was after World War II, propaganda is like a neatly mowed English lawn. We must not allow the weeds of truth to come through. That's just about sums him up. And that bastard they used to have a show called That's Your Life. No, This Is Your Life, which I absolutely cringed with. And the first man to do it was Eamon Andrews. And lots of people would think, who the bleeding hell's he? And then it was Michael Aspel did it. He actually, I think he bought the rights to the show. And they pick on some poor sod. So, and what they would do is, by the way, it's Paul coming up saying, "Yeah, okay, mate, okay, Paul, enjoy your walk." He's going for a walk, you see. Thanks, mate. And they'd say, "This is your life," and apparently they had Sefton Delmar, "This Is Your Life" in the early '60s. The bloke's a bloody criminal, or was.
Mm-hmm.
Complete lying bastard.
I used to hate.
Oh no! It was also, "Hey, yes." Sorry, you was going to say, did you used to hate it as well?
Yeah, This Is Your Life. Oh, that was the most. The only thing that was probably worse was it Sunday TV or Saturday TV where he had crap like Surprise, Surprise, and where he had
Blankety Blank.
Blankety Blank was top class, but with Les Dawson. Definitely Les Dawson was good, but yeah, Surprise, Surprise, Cilla Black attempting to sing. You think?
Surprise, surprise.
And what was the one
do you remember that when they went to a building
date?
society? Oh, bloody hell.
Blind date.
The sick bag wasn't big enough for that. I needed a dustbin to throw up into.
Contested number 1. Some weirdo from Liverpool.
And I'll tell you the other one. The surprise, went to a building site once. There's all these hairy-ass builders, you know, with their arse stuck out, all go, trying to say, yeah, surprise. And half of them are pissed out their brain, you know, broke the cigarette into his mouth. Shit. Absolute shit. But it was all an embarrassment. I found it it was childishly embarrassing. But I'll tell you what, something else I find that's childishly embarrassing. This is still on the theme of propaganda. Have you ever been to a local council planning meeting, the one where the public's allowed in? Have you been to one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And have you been to one, Mr. Farts?
No, never.
You haven't missed much. Well, did you find it embarrassingly immature when they're saying, Madam Speaker, I'm the chair, you're the under this, you're the over this, and the councillors are on some bloody ego trip. I mean, what was your impression, Steve? Did you find that?
Well, one thing about things like that is they are essentially like religious ceremonies. So they use certain phrases. They might even dress a certain way, sit in certain seats, have a certain configuration, follow a determined ritual. That's because that's what they are, rituals. But I'll be quite honest, the occasion I'm talking about, the one I went to, it quickly distracted from whatever the original intention was, and it got onto a topic of a health emergency. And this was probably about 3 years ago. And some of the people in the audience who kind of, you could say they went there with clear intentions as to what they wanted to talk about, started really hammering home certain facets of information to the councillors, of course, and they didn't like it at all.
I'd
even
love
to the point
go
where they,
yeah. Sorry, carry on, Steve. Sorry, yeah, I'd love to
even
be there.
Yeah, even to the point where they'd considered calling the police, and they tried to direct certain members, and we were slightly outspoken, you could say. But
yes,
they were trying to direct us out, and of course they're like looking around for security, of which there was none. So
well, you see, this is the thing I wanted to go on to, and that is words or spelling or spells, how they alter words. Now, why not call things what they are? For example, when you look at the police are no longer the police. They're the stormtroopers. Because when you look at them, I saw a video, some poor sod lives in Bedford, him and his wife, they posted something, they'd investigated a priest on the internet and found out something about him. And it was 3 police cars turned up and police swarming everywhere to arrest 2 people. Well, once upon a time, it'd been one bloke or him and a junior policeman. What they employing in the police now? A load of cowards? Load of sissies?
Yeah. Fascists and communists.
Yeah.
But that's what they all are. Every last one of them.
And
whether they like it or not.
They're trying to stop the poor sod talking to his daughter, who's almost having a fit, who's 14 years old, saying, look, bring the other children round. Stop talking to her. They're trying to stop her. What's the matter? What's in the mentality of these people? But I actually think those videos are put out deliberately to stop us from talking, to be fearful of the stormtroopers. Because they're not police, they're stormtroopers. That's really what they are. Yeah, unless you've got any better names. Gestapo?
Gestapo.
Yeah, Stasi.
Fascist scum.
Yeah, because the police should be there to protect us, not be a agenda promoters for the government.
The police have lost their way, haven't they? I've said this many times on here about all these police audits where somebody goes up with a camera to film the police. Now, all the police need to do is not bother them, and they'll put. And if that was the case at every police station, there would be no auditing. There would be no need for auditors because the police would be doing what they're supposed to do, and just he's doing an lawful activity, leave him alone. But they don't. They're like a fish on a hook. They just get reeled in, and they're in breach of their oath. They don't know their oath. They don't follow the basic processes or the policies. Like if they've got a video on their body worn camera, they're supposed to inform you of that at the first opportunity, unless they're going to drop you to the floor and put their knee in your back. They're supposed to tell you that I'm recording you, so you can claim, you can under GDPR you can claim that footage back. But they don't do that, and you think, well, if they can't follow that simple bit of policy there, what other policies are they ignoring, and other laws that they're supposed to be there to protect that they don't actually bother in? And if one of them does something wrong, unless it's a murder, they know that they can get away with whatever they do. They can get away with it. You know, it's like there's a chap I watch, Yardley Ski, and he does a lot of the London police stations. And one of the rules in London is you're not allowed to park your car on the pavement. And then he goes to these police stations, and they park vans on there, blocking the pavement completely. So if you're in a wheelchair, you've got no way of getting past. So why? But yet, if you were in your car and you did the same, they'd have your car towed away, and yet the police can get away with it, and they are physically breaking the law themselves. It's wrong.
Well, I mean, it's all right to look back into the past with rose-coloured spectacles, but the fact is that there was an old boy, an old copper, on video, and he said that in his day, you would never handcuff someone unless they were drunk. And they're dangerous because a drunk would be lashing out with their fists. So you would handcuff them, but he said anybody else, no, if they're quite peaceful, you'd never dream of handcuffing them. He said because people would come along, and he said you learn the ropes. You learn how to read people. You knew the dangerous ones, you knew the polite ones, and he was called on his own to a bloke who was drunk in a pub, and he said the uniform carried the thing, and he said he didn't arrest him or anything like that. He just said, look, fine. He just spoke nicely to him. He said, look, finish your drink. Come on, we don't want any trouble. And just walked and actually assisted him out and got him home. That's what their job is. They should be servants to the people. You know, they serve us, not the government. But I don't really believe that you do need a police force as such. Although there are criminals, rapists and murderers and things like that. That's what they should really be looking into, the rapists and the murderers. You know,
but then they probably get a job in the police force after they've been arrested.
They probably would. Did you ever see that one with a bloke? I don't know where he's from, Africa or somewhere. Who couldn't speak English. He's a police officer, and they said, "What? Pardon? Pardon? Sorry? What?" And the bloke just couldn't understand a word what he's talking about. But going back into chat, Sue Sparkle talking about. She said that. Awful program. I think that was it Surprise? You used to watch it. It bored me. This is your life. But another one was That's Life. Oh my God! 2 fingers down the throat. That was so immature with Esther Rancid. Yeah, and do you remember that?
What was it about? Remind me.
It was to do with consumers and things like that. You know, we went into Mrs. So-and-so. What was it now? She was raped whilst doing her shopping. So we contacted the electricity board, and they said, "Well, it's nothing to do with us." And then that sort of crap. And it was all sort of these cornflakes are really soggy. We shouldn't really stand for this.
Yeah, right.
But what they did a hit job once, and it was really awful. A bloke bought a 2CV from a little country garage, and they needed to obviously fill a program. And what happened is the hose that goes to the windscreen fell off. So water pissed all over, and it just had an MOT. But this hose could fall off any time. Mm-hmm. Something happens. So all it needs is, put it on, bit of wire, done. Oh, Christ. And the reporter goes along and says, "Oh, it's water going all over my shoes," and they're hyping it up. And they actually go to this poor sod in the garage. His little family firm's been there years, and he just looked. He said, "I'm finished," and just started crying. Literally put his head in his arms.
Really? Wow.
And it was somebody who didn't like him. Somebody big in the BBC that didn't like him. So they went to town. And they couldn't find anything wrong. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the bastard probably pulled the hose off himself and did it to make the show. And I've never forgotten that, you know. And Marlene said that video where the people in Bedfordshire are being arrested, there's 3 police cars, I think it's 4 in fact. I saw that video, pretty shocking it was. And Hereditous Get Fucks as Bounders. Yes, that's what they were called. Yes.
I've seen that video actually, yeah. The one you're talking about.
Yes.
I think what we've got to remember is, I mean, you mentioned about criminals. Well, that's what the police actually are. And you talk about serving and honouring an oath. Well, that's like asking a bunch of gangsters to follow our oath. They will. They'll serve the oath of the masters, the kingpin, the head honcho. That's what the police are. Criminals in uniforms. They even have a special little badge that they can pull out to prove that they're a bunch of criminals. And it gives them unique special powers, like superheroes, like something out the Avengers or something out of the Marvel comic series. They've all been adorned with superhuman powers that gives them the power to tell other human beings how to live their lives. And if the head honcho of the gangster group doesn't like a particular activity, he'll get his superheroes, the communists in uniforms, the fascists in blue, to come and beat you with truncheons and violate your liberties. That's the cops. Absolute scum.
And sort of being nasty to you whilst being polite. "Hello, sir, I'm going to cost you a lot of money."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very, very polite, you know. "Yes, officer, what is your number?" "Oh, here is my number, here." You know, it's all sort of like play acting. It really is, you know. But I wonder what it's like in Texas, in America. Is it a case of policeman comes along and says, "I'm afraid you've violated a speeding, you know, you've got a speeding offence," and suddenly we are of rifles being safety catches being released? I don't think so, because they're all armed over there.
I think American cops are about as corrupt as they are here. To be honest, from what I've seen, there's some bits and pieces I was watching on them, where there was one where a policewoman had pulled over this black chap, and they'd taken him into the car, into the police car, to basically talk to him. And while they were interviewing him, the second copper got out and placed some drugs in his car. And then,
that doesn't surprise me.
And then they basically arrested him for possession of drugs which weren't his in the first place. And you know, I always remember years ago they were trying to get people. The police were trying their best to get the public back on their side, because at the end of the day, without the public, they've got no job. And I mean, if any of us saw a copper being beaten up in the street, would we go across and help them, knowing how they treat us?
I'd go across and help them.
Well, the person who's doing the beating up.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what I like. Did you see that video? Of course, isn't it terrible? These people that's going around cutting down these ULEZ cameras. I mean, so disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a bloke doing it. He's got his hood up. He's doing it in broad daylight. As people crossing the traffic lights, cars all go beep 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 beep, all put their thumbs up. He goes with his angle grinder, you know. I mean, let's face it, we would not suggest buying a top quality angle grinder. I'd say a 9-inch one from Tool Station. It would be terrible to suggest that. We're not even suggesting it at all, are we?
The battery powered ones from the DeWalt are rather
yes.
Well, they go through a 5G tower, because we do get some of them and all.
But we're totally against that, aren't we? Because we're such good, honest citizens.
We'd never.
We're so good. Can you see the sun shone out my arse? Sorry.
I'm so law-abiding. I nearly paid my tax recently, but then I quickly came to my senses.
Yes. No, actually, I think you call it. I think we should rename it. It's not tax. It's called usury theft, and just call it
That's
UT.
What it is.
Usury theft. I paid by usury theft, and I think when you
go on, you're on a roll, Chris.
Well, what I was going to say is when we're addressing the council, because I like writing letters to the council and pissing them off. I think, and I'm thinking of starting this now, putting, I pay my usury theft brackets tax, and then use these terms all the way along, because we can bring our enemy down by using the correct terms. You say you're not going to call the police. They're not going to call the police. They're going to call the stormtroopers or some other better name, or the agenda keepers. That's really what they're doing. And what pisses me off is when they actually accompany bailiffs. They have no right to. It's nothing to do with it. It's a civil matter.
Yeah.
So are the bailiffs paying them?
I think you're exactly right with your analogy there. We've got to stop euphemising what these things are. I mean, this is a show about propaganda. Well, one of the biggest means of propaganda is just our everyday language. I mean, we use the... we've talked about the police, for example, and I went on a bit of a rant about the police, and I'm being polite here. I mean, I would instantly vaporize the entire understanding of the whole system. The police or criminals in uniform, legitimized by another form of propaganda called the law. This is all propaganda. And what it is just a set of complicated instructions in which evil men can force their will upon other people. Period. The end. Forever and ever. Amen. That's all it is. That's all it'll ever be. The thugs in uniform, the stormtroopers, all they're doing is enforcing policies that were invented by evil men to violate other human beings in order to extort money out of them. Now, I'm not saying there's not forms of criminality in society, but let's stop euphemizing the propaganda that we've been subjugated with our entire existence and start coming to a reality check where let's take the police, for example. Let's take criminals in society, because that's never going to go away. We have got a 21st century police force. We've got a 21st century military, 21st century legislation. And what have we got? We've still got criminals. Okay, this is an important value-added ingredient to the way society is managed. Democracy. Remember, democracy is just another form of violation, just like all the other criminal organizations of government designed to subvert other people in order to pursue wealth for a minority group, the controlling class. This 21st century standard of policing still can't capture criminals. Why? Because the police work behind the times, in a sense. They have to be phoned up after a crime has been committed. They're never going to be there beforehand, unless, of course, they're on some sort of stakeout mission. But they are reactive. They're not proactive. So we've got all this 21st century policing and crimes still happen. This is clearly not a deterrent. The law is not a deterrent. There needs to be something added to the way society is managed to prevent and to minimize law and law breaking and disorder.
But of course, the issue there, Steve, is that it's not. The police are very quick to come and pick on the criminals that are perhaps in our world, but not in the world that's running our world, if you like. If you know where I'm going with that one.
Yeah.
So the point is, if they can come and deal with criminals in the public domain, then they should be dealing with every criminal that's out there. Because let's be honest, during a certain year, not too long ago, there were certain criminals in a certain big building in London who were administering, basically killing people off. and yet they're still walking the streets as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah,
right.
if you or I did exactly the same thing, that we'd be in
Spot
prison
on.
for 30 years.
Yeah.
Why is it one rule for them and a different set of rules for us? It should be the same for
Spot's
everyone.
right on.
And
Spot
it's
on.
the same, and it's the same with where the police will if there's somebody nicking a pair of trainers from some like JB Sports, the police will turn up because it's a corporation that's being affected. Whereas if someone's breaking into your house, they couldn't give a monkeys. They'll turn up. They'll say, "Well, there's no one available," and yet you go down to the police station with a camera, and there's 50 cops there. You think, well, hang on a second, you're saying you can't supply a cop to come and sort this burglar out, but there's 50 of you down the station doing jack shit. It's the whole system is. It's backwards, really. It should either be the same rule for everybody, or treat us all the same, or don't treat us, or you know where I'm going with that one.
I know what you mean. I mean, I've heard from two separate people who do you remember those anti-capitalist marches they did and riots that they had in London? When was it, about 15, 20 years ago? A long time ago. And they and there was two people I know who didn't know each other. So I got this from two different sources. So I think it must be right. And they didn't know each other. And they were outside this, and this is when the police started kettling people, keeping them. Do you remember that kettling? I don't know if they still do it.
Oh, yeah.
But they're outside this building, and they saw a load of police vehicles, and there's a load of real thug types, the boots and and they were behind. They were the police vehicles, and there was like a canteen there, police canteen. They were having a bit of sandwiches and whatever. The police then opened up, let these thugs through. The press were outside this building, and then they went smashing the windows in the building and really vandalising the building. The press were going click, 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 click. Then the thugs turned round, police parted, they walked back, and went back to where they was having their scoff, thanks all paid for by the police. They were literally paid to do that. They couldn't believe it. And the press next day, look at these thugs, what they're doing. They're these protesters, they're terrible. They're smashing in the front the shop and all this, that and the other. And it was all planned. It was all a big piece of theatre. And that was about 15, 20 years ago.
Well, when we had all these protests with regards to the freedom being removed, I did a couple of the ones in Birmingham. And I'm pretty convinced that they drop in government stooges onto these protests to get us to go a different route. And there was one where David Icke turned up to do a guest speak or whatever by the town hall, and then we all went off to do the walk through Birmingham. And as we set off from the town hall, they were sort of working us down towards the tunnels. If you know Birmingham at all, there's lots of tunnels around the city centre, like roadways. And I said to somebody, why are they routing us down here? Because this would be the easiest way to get us all captured, basically. And somebody said that they didn't understand why they'd been sent that way. I said, well, this isn't the route we should be taking. And it's as though somebody or a few people had been planted on that protest to deliberately get everyone to go the wrong ways without sort of realising where they were going. I think a lot of the things that go on when we see like vandalism being taking place, I think a lot of that's down to government stooges, basically.
I agree with you. 100% agree with you there. And there was someone that said they stand out by their physique, where they stand. You can, there's sort of feet are 10 to 2 and that sort of thing. That kind of, there's something about their body language you can actually tell them. But Sue Sparkle has said, my oldest son had a go at a policeman who had a man round the neck, nearly strangling him. The man was struggling. The policeman told him to shut it, or he would arrest him. Disgusting. Yes. Police, Jojo Gizmo said, police like to go for the easiest targets possible. They don't want to have to tackle real criminals. Yes. What is it? Oh, she said, sorry. struggling. Sorry, not struggling. I think that probably was strangling. Then Mark Anthony says, "Evening all. A bit late tonight. Lines from no from parents, please." And then we got here, Mark, and we got here. Why are they only focusing on ULEZ cameras? There's these people with the angle grinders. And he goes on to say, "I find it a little strange." Yes, it is. Why not the 5G?
Well, do you not think it's interesting how quickly they can put the ULEZ cameras back up? And yet there's where I live, about 200 yards from where I am, there's been potholes at the bottom of this road now for about the last 2 years. So they can find the time to put ULEZ cameras back up once they've been chopped down, but they can't find a few little bits of tarmac to fill in the crazy paving that's at the bottom of our road now.
Well, that's right.
But somebody may be making good money from that. You can guarantee it. Whether it might be in the company's interest to have the odd few taken down. Who knows?
But that's true. Claim on insurance.
Ultimately, it's going to be. I was going to say us idiots, the taxpayers who are going to be funding it all. So, but as Eric correctly said, why we're funding an usury scam? I don't. I stopped that long ago. But not only that, I do speak quite openly, as you probably guessed by now, about the police and also the military. Believe it or not, I used to work in recruitment for the army. Now I work in anti-recruitment. So I've also worked with the police, not as a police serving police officer, but I've worked with them in my army role, predominantly with armed police. All very professional. They've got some great equipment, very disciplined, very well organized, very, very professional unit. This is where we need to this is where the lines get blurred in a sense, because we've legitimized a bunch of criminals and we've give them all the tools of the trade in order to subvert a society of people. And we're talking about propaganda. Well, if we were to talk about war propaganda, let's talk about a certain country in Europe during the Second World War, who apparently was a maniac and, evidently did kill lots of people from faraway lands, etc., etc. That was secondary to the aim of government. The aim of government is not to kill a certain group of people. It's to persecute and manipulate. Well, I'm going to use the word manipulate. It's to manipulate their own people. The object of war is not to go and kill the enemy. It's to find ways and means to subvert and manipulate your own people. That's what war's about. And this is where, we're talking about something called the Great Awakening. Until people can kind of get these concepts into their head and improve their understanding of why these things take place, then there'll be no Great Awakening. This is all about governments. Thank you. Governments want to and need to violate and manipulate their own people. They use things like, thank you. They use the police to do this on a daily basis. Get rid of the police, and I'm not saying if you got rid of the police overnight, there will be chaos. All right, and this is collectively known. Another word that's used in propaganda is the word anarchy. I've been an anarchist even when I was in the army. As ridiculous as this sounds, I was an anarchist when I was in the army, and I used to quite openly tell people I was an anarchist. I don't think it done my promotion any good. But obviously, you can't be a de facto anarchist and serve in the army at the same time. It's a physical impossibility. But an anarchist is generally, in normal society, and even in truth-seeking communities, will be considered a troublemaker, violent thug, somebody disorderly, somebody who just wants chaos, because that's what propaganda's done. It's turned a word that literally means no rulership to mean violent, disorganized chaos, thuggery.
Because anarchy, the word anarchist means without. Is that word that means without government? You're not ruled by anybody.
It means without rulership. That's all it means.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
yeah.
And when you look at one of the most, I know I keep on about them, but the Yellow Vests were very successful when they had no leader. They're leaderless. They're very, very successful. I mean, I saw something when they was, going full, when it was at its height, and whoever worked this out must have had military training. It was brilliant. And someone was filming it from a rooftop, and it must have been south of France because I saw sort of palm trees and things. But the gendarmes or the police were there with their batons, and they gave chase to this group down this alley, and it's a trap.
Nice.
And they did this, and they were very well disciplined. Again, I don't know who organised them, but he must have had military training. And they just surrounded the police.
Brilliant.
And they stopped, and they're going, and they obviously told them to remove their helmets, and these people they were shitting themselves. And all they did, had to remove the helmets, and then what they had to do is they said, right, you can go, but we need to know your name and address.
I like it.
You can go.
Yeah,
and that you
funny
could
when
see the terror. Yeah. They're taking their helmets off, but the manoeuvre, what they did, they gave chase, thinking, "Oh look, it's all planned."
Yeah.
Of course, the police force linked their way back down to Freemasonry, which is why they
More
drive
massively.
with the black and white checkered thing around the band around the helmet, as it were, or the hat, whatever you want to call it. And the police in America drive black and white cars. That's all Freemasonry.
Yes.
And beyond,
even in the UK, the blue and yellow cars, that links to Freemasonry as well.
Yeah,
blue and yellow checkerboard. Yeah.
Well, a long time ago, it must have been a good 20 years ago, I was walking along and I saw a police car. And on the side of it, it said, car supplied by, at the local, I won't tell you the make of the car, but it had the local sort of dealer of the car. And I thought, hang on a minute, how can those dealers do anything wrong? Because they're going to say, hang on, mate, we've supplied your cars. It's actually got an advert on the side of a police car for the dealership that supplied the car.
Yeah, mate.
Huh? I didn't know they were allowed to do that. But I've never seen it since.
I thought the police were supposed to be not biased.
Oh, that's what I thought.
So that car would be, I would think, breaking the law. That'd be in breach of the police oath. Well,
it's a bit in that respect. Similar to my local council, they had not only the Star of David Israeli flag fluttering, and also had it's on a kind of I can explain it. They had an illuminated sign with Israel, and also the Ukrainian flag. Well, I thought the local council was there for the administration for local people, nothing to do with Ukraine, nothing to do with politics. What's it? Why are taxpayers having to pay that out?
It's all politics at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you not find that going back to the dealing with the council, do you find that the people they seem to employ in the council seem to be very stuck-up pieces of crap? In that they seem to be, is a narcissist the right description, where they don't seem to have any sympathy or understanding? You know, they give you a form to fill out, and it's got 400 pages you got to fill out. They need a stool sample of this and a urine sample of that, and what colour your dog's hair is, and if you send it off and it's slightly wrong, we can't accept this, just send it back. You think, you've put a tick rather than an X. I don't know. The council people always seem to be very, I don't know, just lacking any empathy. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Well, I think I told you when I this was before I had my smartphone. I think I've said this before. I went down to a local town to pick up something from Argos, and they said, "Oh, we need to have some bloody number," and I had to get on the internet to find out the number. So I went into the local library, and I said, again, I have said this on a previous show, so it's time to make a cup of tea. Those who have heard it before. So I just said, well, this she said, "Are you a member of the library?" I said, "Oh yeah." So I got my library card out. She said, "That's years out of date." She said, "You got to rejoin. You see." So I said, "Well, I only want to go on the computer because I was told of the problem." "Oh no. You have to be a member of the library." So anyway, got this form. So it said, "Are you lesbian, gay?" And I ticked all the boxes: lesbian, gay, and all the whole bleeding lot. And on one of them, I put only on Wednesdays, and it was an hour in a month. And I was taking the piss basically. And I think, why do they want to know that if you join the library? And I gave it to her, and she sort of looked at it and went. It gave me a look as if she's had a smacked arse, and I never gave her a response. I think she must have put it straight in the bin. Anyway, I went back to Argos. I saw someone else, and they said, "Oh, it's okay. Don't need this number. Just give us your address and postcode." "Oh, okay. Here it is." So there's a bit of officialdom there. So that was okay. I'm going back quite a few years now, as I say. I'm sure it's different now. But I actually think the police should be there for common law only. Injury, loss, or harm. That's it. Everything else is a statute. It's nothing to do with them. So I don't believe in prisons. I don't think we should have prisons, because what happens? Somebody's committed a crime. They've done something wrong. So what do? You put them in amongst other criminals where they can do crimes better. And why psychologically torture a person?
Yeah.
Now, it sounds a bit wet liberal. Why not put them, say, on an island? Or if it's something that they've stolen, they have to pay it back 3 times as much. So if they stole a car, they're going to have to pay that back. And, something like that. Because prisons are really making people there to make people mental, I think.
Yeah.
It's wrong to treat people like that, even if they're the most evil.
Well, psychological torture centres, that's what they are.
The only people you lock away are psychiatric cases, paedophiles, and people that are harm to the community who are mentally ill. There's something wrong, and they're there for their own safety as well as ours. That's what the police should be there for. Not knocking on someone's door because they said something wrong on bleeding Facebook or something. That to me is an insult to us. It's an insult to everyone.
Yeah.
But,
see, in an ideal world, I think the police should be removed, and what we should actually have is, if someone's stolen a car from you and they're caught, they should be expected to come. They should come and explain to the individual they've stolen it from why they did it. Make them feel embarrassed. Make them put them on the spot and say, "Okay, now you explain," and you're not going anywhere until you have explained why you've done what you've just done, and then as a consequence of the action. Because then the next time that individual goes to do that, I'd think, actually, I'm not doing this because I don't want to go through that embarrassment again. So it's not unnecessary. I don't think prisons are needed. I think I think it's putting people on the spot. It's like, I used to go over to the Czech Republic quite a lot, and I was talking to a woman on a train one day, and she was an English teacher over in Ostrava in the Czech Republic, and in their classrooms, if a pupil hadn't done their homework, for example, they'd ask that pupil to stand at the front of the class and explain why they hadn't done it, which is rightly or wrong. That's a way of it's embarrassing them.
Correct.
And it makes them think twice next time when they think, well, I can't be asked to do this. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the route we should be taking.
That's an interesting dilemma, that one, isn't it? I mean, it's an interesting point in the fact that because this child has had their childhood removed by being taken by force to be manipulated in an indoctrination centre that they call school, to learn the tools of the trade, to to oil the wheels of the mechanism for the ruling elite, because that child chose willfully not to engage his or her time on an activity that wasn't productive to their well-being at that particular time, they're then going to face ritual humiliation from the rest of the school. Yeah,
you know where I was going with that.
I know where you're going. Yeah,
yeah. That's interesting. Well, but you heard about the little girl that was late for school, and teacher says, "Why are you late, Molly?" "Oh, I had to take ball to cow." So she said, "Well, couldn't your father do it?" "Oh no, it has to be a ball." Sorry. Terrible one, isn't it? Hereditary Get Fucked. He said, put the money into school instead of prison. Well, I've actually worked out that, for example, where I live, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in schools. I think that groups of people can home educate children. And, you know, I think that school is not for everyone. Marlene said they are out of control. I think possibly, do you mean the police?
Police,
I think that.
Yeah.
And we got Stephen Trueseeker. Hello, it's hot in the south. It bloody well is. It really is hot down here. Yes, it's the hottest part of the country. Barefoot Foreigner. Hello, Barefoot Foreigner. Indeed, we've been led astray many times on marches. That's true. And she went on to say, and always a lady in red who is a Pied Piper. Yes. Someone called Katie, would that be?
Oh, I'm allowed to ask who that might be.
Well, I think it's Katie Plopkins.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
But Barefoot Foreigner may prove me wrong.
Right.
She may prove me wrong. And by the way, we was talking about That's Life earlier. Well, apparently Esther Rancid is about a crow kit, and she was going to go to Switzerland to, hand in her dinner jacket, pop her clogs. And she's decided not to now. Shall we all have a whip round? Don't mind, we'll send you there. Now, Marlene says, because of an unjust system that keep people in poverty and stress creating mental health issues, no wonder there is crime. It's the system that never worked, all by design. I agree with you. I agree.
I mean, that system will never work either. It'll never, ever work. It'll never, ever be just or right because it's illegitimate from the onset. So,
that's right.
Good point.
Just a random question, Steve. Did you get a fish with that tank that you just picked up?
For me? Like this one?
Yeah, you get a shark in that.
I'll see if I can.
By the way, you're a Guinness drinker as well, aren't you? I believe.
Yeah, I'll have a Guinness. Yeah, well, full of fluoride.
Oh, you're taking the words out of my mouth. Yeah, that was in the other show. It's full of bleeding fluoride.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But someone suggested Aldi sells similar to Guinness, and it's half the price, and I'm not sure it's full of fluoride.
Right. I did see a comment on that the other day. I mean, by the way, can I just say, the only time I drink is when I'm on your show.
I'm driving people to drink.
It's funny, that, isn't it? That's I mean, can I come on more often?
I'll tell you something, you need something tonight. Bloody hell, it's so hot.
How long will that last you then? That massive tankard.
It's not as big as it looks.
It is.
What is it? Is it it's not Guinness, is it? No, that's
I don't know. It's like a real ale.
Police. Yes, that's what I just get, folks. Yes, Police.
Policy enforcers.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly make a point there? I mean, I don't want to come across as like Mr. Horrible. He hates everything and he just wants to get rid of everything. He's a complete anarchist. Anarchy in the UK, but I can back everything I say up with hard, firm evidence, facts, and legitimacy. But if I was to do that on the police, for example, it would take the entire show. I mean, I can certainly mention certain things, and I can certainly point out a direction where you can, receive sufficient understanding to back up the points I make, such as one gentleman I always refer to as somebody called Larkin Rose. Larkin Rose is an American guy. He writes specifically about how the police and government are the most, in fact, what he calls it is the most dangerous superstition because it's a religious cult.
Yeah.
And it's a religious cult based on the illegitimate perversions upon any, you could say, natural order, natural law, morality, it's a perversion of morality. And one of the reasons for this is in order to enforce their illegitimate acts, which are violations against human rights and human liberty, because that's what every act of Parliament essentially is. Somebody is going to get their rights, their God-given rights, violated as a result of that ruling. The police, etc., they have to violate further anybody who contradicts that ruling and they have to do it by force. Because it's all done by force, and when I say force, that could just be fear of coercion, fear of manipulation, or fear of reprisals, not just fear of getting beaten off the cops or thrown into jail or getting, whatever else, fines or imprisonment. This fear drives a fear culture. This is what propaganda is. It's a way to coerce, manipulate people. Well, the best form of propaganda is to legitimize everything by writing it into the legislation that enables all of this mechanism to violate the rights of society on a subversive, subconscious level. That's why.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why we live in fear all the time, and we don't even realize it.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Well, I often think that adverts are basically also another form of propaganda that we don't realise it, but they are there for that purpose. And I always remember when I used to get a lift back home from work, and it'd be about 4:30 in the evening, stuck in traffic, and you'd get adverts for things like McDonald's and Burger King, and just for $1.99 you get this meal, which basically is a form of propaganda to try and get you to go. You think, well, can I really be asked to go home and cook? No, I've changed my mind. I'll go and pop to McDonald's instead. Which is, I know it's not as bad as what we had during a certain period of time, should we say, but it's still a form of propaganda. Rather than just if the radio was off, you wouldn't even listen. You wouldn't know any different. But the fact that it's there and it's timed at sort of 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, when people have just finished work and they're hungry, it's basically trying to coerce them to basically say to them, well, you could go and get a burger or something like that instead of having something nice and healthy.
I suppose the one saving grace about that, I mean, you're exactly right. This adverts are exactly designed to entice, encourage, manipulate, change perceptions. This is how propaganda works on a subconscious level. So adverts are a good example of that. But the thing about that is we can always switch the TV off. And I have to say, I mean, I would say I probably haven't watched TV other than, I mean, I obviously watch YouTube. But the TV, I literally haven't watched it in 10 years. And I noticed after it took 12 months, I would say, of not watching the TV. I noticed after a 12-month period that my brain actually worked differently.
Yes.
That's when I became, you could say that's when I started to become an anarchist, because because my brain worked differently, I was able to perceive and understand things that I'd completely blanked out. Living in Clown World and being actually a protagonist of Clown World. I was one of the leading violators of freedom and liberty by working as an assassin for the state. It doesn't get any, more immoral than that. So for me, I've got a lot of karmatic consequence to improve upon. And to me, I think that the best way to do it is to show by example that no matter how brainwashed we might be in life, when we come to a realization that some of the things that we're doing are immoral and based in violence towards other people. And when I say violence, tax paying is a form of violence. When we pay tax, kids are going to die. It's as simple as that. I'll be as brutally honest as that. Every time we pay a tax, there's going to be a dead kid at the end of it. And if that shocks people, good, because that's literally what's happening. And you might think, well, I'm not paying tax to kill kids in a different faraway land. Yeah, you're probably not. I never was. But that's the truth of the system that we're living in, because we are encouraging all of this violence and propaganda upon ourselves through our own actions. So when we talk about changing things for the better, we'll have to start looking inwardly and to see how we're all part of that bigger picture. Because as Boris Johnson says, we're all in this together.
And the thing is, you can't avoid it that in every walk of life. You still pay it, because even if you don't pay council tax and that sort of stuff, if you go and buy a book, if you buy a car, if you buy a model train, no matter what you purchase, there's tax added onto it.
Yeah.
And I think motorists in particular are really badly hit, because you pay your tax when you buy your car, you have MOT on your car, you put fuel in the car that's got tax on it. It's every time they sell a car, the government must be thinking, "Oh, hey, come on, bring all that cash on," because it's cars or transport in general just rakes in the tax, isn't it?
Oh, it does. But I don't even believe in driving license. What do you need a test for? Tests don't prove anything. They really don't, because people study out for the test and forget about it all. But now Stephen Truth Seeker said, "What happened to Friday Occult Show with Nathan?" Yeah, it was on Rumble. It went out on Friday, and it was on Rumble, and Paul English was on there. So if you look at my Rumble channel, it's on there. And the reason it was on Rumble is because we were saying a few things that probably wouldn't be allowed on YouTube, but also you're only allowed 20 hours a month on StreamYard, which I use to do YouTube with. So I didn't want to, because I'm a tight-fisted git, I didn't want to use my allowance up. So there we go. Now, Marlene said that's where PACE, P-A-C-E officers can be replacement for the police. And I've actually seen a scene in Kent, and I know someone that was there, that the police were helping the bailiffs trying to get someone out of a house, a disabled person out of the house, and the PACE, P-A-C-E officers turned up and outnumbered the police. And all they did, they fought with their mouths and told the police they don't understand the law. They knew the law inside out. And you see the police backing off. And you saw how stupid these people were, the police I'm talking about. Now, as one of your number one fans here, that's life, but not as we know it. Good to see Survival Steve. Absolute.
Cheers, William.
Legend.
Thanks,
that's
mate.
It.
Back at you, mate.
I'll tell you something. Steve speaks from the heart, and there's very few people that speak from the heart. So it comes across that way. And that's to be admired. That they do not need the depth of personal information. I agree with you, DJ B2. Yes, you're right. Everywhere you go, they want to know the ins and outs of a nag's arse. Why? Why do they want to know if you want to borrow a bleeding library book, whether you're a one-legged lesbian of half Irish origin or something? Why? Who cares?
I know exactly why that is, Eric. That's a classic sign of communism. Communists need to spy on their own citizens. That's why we've got all the things. I was going to mention several social media sites, all of the internet sites, all of the documentation, all of licensure, your driving license, all of this kind of stuff. This is because the state wants own you as a commodity, and they want to understand where that commodity is tracked like a parcel all the time.
Yeah, spot on. And Steve Truth Seeker said, thanks. Sorry, Mark Anthony said, terribly sorry. He's answered Steve the Truth Seeker. He said, Eric and Nathan did a show on Friday on Rumble. That's right. Thanks, mate. It's much appreciated. Now we've got Marlene said, NPCS, Paul, laugh out loud. NPCS.
Non-player characters, I'm guessing.
I don't know. Stephen Truth Seeker said, I thought it was on YouTube. Probably my fault. I should have made it clearer that I was on Rumble. Sorry about that. But you're still there to see it on Rumble, And near homework. Nah, homework is rubbish. School are rubbish. That's correct. Yes. School is crap. Yes, I agree with you there. Yes.
Yeah, happy
Wasn't my
days.
school.
Open prisons
Yeah.
for enslaving children. That's what they are.
Yes.
Teacher and police both equal 33.
Oh, in
That's
Gematria.
interesting.
Yeah.
Say that one again.
Teacher and police both equal 33 in Gematria.
Love it. Yeah,
And
I like it. Well done, mate.
Marlene says, yes, but that is total humiliation to a pupil and wrong. That's when when you had to explain why I haven't done your homework. And we got Deb. Hello, Deb. Good evening, Chris, Paul, and Steve, and chatty chaps and chapesses. I can't stay. Just want to say, like, share, and subscribe. Bless you. That's very kind. If you haven't, it's free. It helps the channel enormously. I thank you. Thanks, Deb. And Deb, hope you feel better now. Deb has been a bit under the wars recently, so let's all wish her better. All have positive thoughts towards where Deb in the where are we? In Yorkshire. So wish you better, Deb.
Yeah.
And we got here. Television is not good for you. No, nor is voting. Now some geezer, I don't know who he is, says tell, lie, vision, and TV programs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Programs here. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nice one, Paul.
And first step is to stop voting. Yeah, I don't vote. I'm allergic to it. If you're still voting, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, I stopped voting like 15 years ago, but I agree in essence the first stage you could say is stop voting.
That's right.
And then that once you've stopped that illusion, it buys you time to learn how the system is totally corrupt and immoral. And then when we can build upon that.
Well, we know they always know who they wanted anyway. I mean, I reckon if the entire country had voted Conservative, you'd still have Keir Starmer sat in power.
I agree.
The vote's completely not a waste of time. They know who they want him before they even announce it, and the fact that the general election was the 4th of July last year, which is 47, and government equals 47.
Yeah, it's all right. Nice.
And Justin Trudeau, could anybody voted him? Oh, by the way, Deb says, thanks, Eric. That's very kind. Thank you. And Marlene says, it's the taxes that our government is funding the likes of Israel, yes, and Ukraine. So, sorry.
Well,
Ukraine.
In a sense, it makes no difference where the country is or where the money's going. The money's going on subverting yourselves. The money's going on funding warfare and the mechanisms that drive the industry that keeps the billionaires and trillionaires rich and powerful, and it keeps and because they want the lion's share, they're not going to share it with you guys. So that's tax. It's a complete scam. It's just robbery.
Usury.
It's just usury. It's just legalized highway robbery. If I was to say I'll take 100% of tax from your wages, you probably wouldn't be impressed. But if I said, well, okay, then I'll take 99%, you still wouldn't be impressed. What percentage of tax makes it okay?
And it's all the money it's all the tax they waste on it as well. I mean, when I walk to work, they relayed. We've got a cyclepath and footpath alongside our dual carriageway here, and they closed various parts of this path for about 6 months. I reckon they built runways quicker than it's actually taken to widen this path. And this path is that wide now. I reckon you could drive an articulated lorry down it, and it wouldn't touch either side. And I think part of the plan was basically just to take all the trees down, or a lot of the trees down, because they know we need trees, and they were just chopping them all down. And you think, well, it's not exactly a massive thoroughfare. Where the cycle path is, it's not like the central London where it's busy. You might see one or two cyclists of a morning. That's about it. It's just complete not a waste of time. It took them 6 months or more to do that.
Similar here. It's similar here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. Carry on.
No, go on. No, you said.
I was going to say, Waltham Cross used to have a road going through it, and they paved it all over and pedestrianised it all bloody years ago, several decades ago. Now, some bright sparks decided to turn it back into a road, okay? They have been months on it. And when you go there, there's nothing seems to be happening. You know, sort of blokes in there, it's hard hats and yellow jackets, all sort of looking around, but nobody actually doing very much.
No.
And you think, why are they taking so long? I think one bloke on his own could have done it quicker.
They're taking so long because it's not their money that's getting wasted. It's our money. So if I represented the let's say, they're called. I'll be the mafia. I'm the Geordie mafia. If I said to everybody in my street that I was going to take 15% of their hard-earned money, but some of it was going to go to good deeds, and the rest of it I was going to use to buy bullets to murder people, I think most people would probably tell me to F off. But when the government do it, everybody obeys them because you're all under religious mind control and fell for the propaganda scam, hook, line, and sinker. You know, I've been there. I understand how it works. I was there. Now I don't buy into that system at all. And as our friend Nathan Lucius says quite frequently, you can't enslave a moral man. That's a really important topic of conversation, because when you understand morality, you understand that the criminality and the illegitimacy and the unholiness of anything that violates it. I mean, I was a soldier, a daft soldier. Now I understand concepts of morality, and I don't fund or buy into their system of corruption. So I don't fund the police. I don't fund the government. I don't vow for the government. In fact, I want it abolished. I want schools abolished. I want the police abolished, the military abolished, and the government abolished. Now, a lot of people will probably think, in fact, most people actually do think I'm a raving lunatic. My whole family thinks I'm a raving lunatic. And the difference is they don't get it because they don't understand concepts of morality, because they've never studied objective morality, moral relativism. They've never studied natural law. I didn't know any of this until I studied these things. And when I did, it started to make sense. So if we want to understand how we can physically live without a system of government and a system of the police, we have to understand all these concepts in order to make it happen. It's no good just listening to somebody like me bleating on and saying, we need to do this and need to do the other. We need to consciously know this and apply it in our everyday life, because we understand it is the right thing to do.
And also, I think we're all frontline troops. Doesn't matter how old you are, who you are, we're all frontline. And we can all do a little bit, because look at the Kalahari Bushmen. I've got a lot of respect for them. And the way they kill their prey, they'll single one animal out and they'll wear it out until it collapses with exhaustion. That's how they hunt. Now, the people we're against, if you're good at writing, write to your local council. If you want to, do what you're skilled at or what you feel most comfortable doing.
I done all that. I was going to say, I done all that, Eric. I wrote to my local council, my local police, and wrote to the DVLA and stuff. And I just informed, my local county council, and told them, by the way, because of X, Y, and Z, I'll no longer be funding the system that you're extorting money from me. So road tax, council tax. By the way, I'm not suggesting everybody does this just because I said, don't just do this following somebody or he said it's okay. You've got to do your research and understand the reasons why. But I understand the reasons why. So I don't pay road tax, car tax, income tax. All income tax is voluntary. Pay as you earn is voluntary. incidentally. But you've got to understand the concepts around it and understand how and why we're getting manipulated into these schemes and attempts of skullduggery. But it can be done.
Yes, it can be.
Chris, those people you were talking about who do that the hunting where they follow an animal to make sure.
Yes, the Kalahari Bushmen. Yeah.
Have they not considered just getting a recording of, I don't know, a Keir Starmer speech?
No, that's a bloody good idea.
They're doing it wrong. If they just played 2 hours of a Keir Starmer speech to a gazelle, that gazelle will jump on that spear. Listen to this crap. Eat me, cut me, kill me.
Yeah, that's a bloody good idea, isn't it?
It is, isn't
it? Yeah, don't sort of wear yourself out, you know. There's just here's for your Starmer, but actually, with a local council, all you need to do is ask them for a receipt. So I'm willing to pay, but I need a receipt, please, because there's a website where you can find they're registered with Dun and Bradstreet. They're a private company. So the council has got as much right, apparently, to charge you, well, I don't call it council tax, but it's protection racket, as local supermarket has. Got no rights at all. So
they're corporations now, aren't they, rather than publicly funded or public bodies, as it were.
And also,
here's a point to consider. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of people would say, well, if we don't pay tax or we don't do this, who's going to fund X, Y, and Z? Well, all I would say, I mean, I can give you quite a lot of answers to this, but here's one answer to take away. 50 years ago, we landed a man on the moon, allegedly. If we are that clever as the human race, I'm sure we could come up with a few little solutions to whatever little problem that might be thrown in our way.
That's right. I actually worked out that, I mean, I live where there's 55 properties, okay, over quite a large area. And I actually worked it out that if people clubbed in, we could get our bins emptied when we want, at a time that everybody wants, or most people. There's always one awkward bastard that won't. But, a bin's emptied at the right time. We could have someone sweeping the streets. We could actually have someone planting flowers, making it really nice. And maybe a security bloke wandering around, make sure that children go to school and everything's fine. And that would cost less than a quarter of what we're paying now.
Well, the thing is, if you think about it, you pay your council tax, and I mean, I don't recycle anything, but most people recycle stuff, which is complete. As far as I'm concerned, that's a big scam.
It is.
Because where are the piles and piles and piles of recycling to be disposed of? Because I've mentioned this before. If you take a city like Birmingham, for example, how many recycling wagons is that going to be? 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 18 tons a piece. That's 18,000 tons from one city. That's a lot of plastic bottles. We say, where are they all? And that's just one city. If you take in Leeds, Manchester, London, Liverpool, that's probably a similar sort of amount. That's a massive mound of recycling that seemingly just disappears. Where is it all?
You're right. Sorry, you're going to say, Steve?
It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
Yes. When I worked at lad, I'm sound like my granddad now. When I was at lad, we used to take our Corona bottles back to the newsagent and get money for it to return the bottle. And also, when my mum went to the greengrocers, you didn't have plastic bags. She just used to open a string bag or a shopping bag, and they used to pour the spuds in. Weigh them up and pour the spuds in. So you didn't have any. You might get, I think, a brown paper bag for things like strawberries or something like that. But that was about all. Nearly everything was recycled.
Well, that's how I was. That's how I was a 10-year-old entrepreneur, because at 10-year-old I was raiding the bins for the glass bottles with the 10p money back. Earned a fortune, right. I did.
I bet you did. Yes. Yes, it's just you retired to Florida where you lived.
Yeah.
But oh, by the way, isn't it nice? Have you had this on Telegram yet? I keep getting people thinking I'm looking for a job, and they're saying, "Hello, I've got a fantastic job for you." They don't know me from Adam. It's a scam from Nigeria.
Oh, yeah.
And I just go block, bing, and they try all methods. Hi, I missed you, and all that sort of thing. I just write, so did I. Bing, off they go, delete. But now this is a good one. Mark Anthony said, if voting made any difference, they wouldn't let us do it. Correct?
No matter who you vote for, the government always get in.
That's right. We want someone that loves us, that likes us, not hates us. DJ B2 said Starmer is the Davos implant. Sorry, what's that? Well, someone that loves us, not hates us, sort of, hi there, I'm full of love,
Yeah.
And now, NPCS, non-player characters in the council, I meant. Yes.
Brain dead order following zombies.
And Stephen Trueseeker said Starmer looks a little bit like Davros. Oh, what do you mean Davros on Harry Enfield?
Yeah.
The bloke who works at the...
Rings a bell.
what do you call it? Well, they have a big bloody great elephant's leg and they're chunking bits of meat off of it. What
kebab.
Kebabs, yeah. Kebab store, Stavros.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Probably Davros. No, it's Stavros, wasn't it? Starmer is there to accelerate the agenda and put the UK back in the EU SSR. Yes.
I love that.
Back in the EU SSR.
Yeah. Oh. See, this is what we're voting for on Pint. This is when we are obliging government. We're not anarchists. This is what we'll become in the EU SSR. I think that's the phrase of the day.
That's perfect. That
tickled me. That, yeah. That's what we are when you ain't got my negative attitude to the government. This is what results: tyranny, enslavement, totalitarianism.
We'd probably be better under the USSR. To be fair, I think our friend out there has got it right.
Well,
in Russia.
I tell you something. I often watch a few videos of people, English people, who's actually gone to live in USSR, and some just outside Moscow, about 20 miles outside Moscow. It looks like Las Vegas, not Las Vegas, California of the 1950s. Bloody great detached houses. And the price is give or take, it's about half the price of here. Houses are cheap-ish. Car insurance is dirt cheap as well. It's just, and also they don't have crap in their food like we have. They have decent whole food, wholesome food.
They have to drive larders, which, let's be honest, you could run that into a brick wall and just carry on, wouldn't it? You don't have to worry about insurance when you got a larder.
Well, you'll be surprised. They've actually got all the latest cars out there, would you believe? Seriously.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. You don't see. I mean, that was the former Soviet Union. It's very different now. And if you look at Moscow itself, bloody hell, it's modern. They have the same sort of shops as we've got. And so I'm with you.
Oh, you're joking.
Steve. This is Malene. Totally. Yes. I didn't need to study it, though. I just understand right from wrong. Yes.
Can we pause on that for a second? I must comment on Mylene, top girl. That's a brilliant comment. Right. Let me just expand on this a little bit because right from wrong. Guess what? We all are born instinctively with the understanding of knowing right from wrong. Here, the temples, the two temples of the Sol and the Mon, and the Sol of Mon, Solomon, two temples of Solomon, and inside the temple of Solomon, we reach the Holy of Holies. And in the Holy of Holies is a special room, which contains an ark. And the ark is a golden box with two tablets. And etched upon the two tablets are the commandments of God And the commandments of God, if you were to break it down into one simple phrase, is do no harm to any other being. All right, harm can come in a lot of different ways: murder, rape, theft, violence, deception. All of these things we instinctively know right from wrong. But guess what happens? There's a little religious mind control gets in the way, some propaganda which is sprinkled down from the heavens in the form of government, and their rules and legislation rather is enforced by a bunch of thugs. That's called the police and the military. And if we act outside of our instinctive capacity of natural law, and we start violating that because we're being told to by this group of thugs, that's when right from wrong starts to become a little bit pear-shaped, and we no longer understand our instinctive qualities and instinctive nature. This is how propaganda actually works in the real world. And what happens is the blurred line of right and wrong suddenly become transferred to the government, all right, and we are useless know-nothings who need to be commanded by our glorious leadership into accepting violence, thuggery, theft, and all the other transgressions of natural law into our lives. And that's how society and humanity as a whole become tarnished with all of these negative qualities. We become brainwashed into accepting that violence is morally legitimate, and that only morally legitimate form of leadership has to come from an entity, a religious entity called the government. Get rid of government, our instinctive nature starts to become more apparent. Then we will start to live a more productive and well-natured, balanced life. I can guarantee it. That's the essence of how anarchy works. So brilliant point there, Mylene. Thank you.
That is brilliant. And we got here Stubo73, so Stavros in it. Stavros, yeah, that's right. Stephen Truthseeker said Davros should be allowed to claim Pip. And Stig, morning New Zealand, morning all.
Hello,
good day.
Hello, and now I can't really do a New Zealand accent. It's sort of like a sort of a posh Australian, isn't it? Sorry, Stig, I didn't mean to insult you. Yeah, it's sort of very. It's quite a nice accent actually. But do you find though, if you're with people that's got strong accents, it starts to catch after a while? I used to work in an office full of Australians, and I found after I was saying little statements like "Good day," you know.
G'day, Spunky.
Good days, mate.
Put
Yeah.
a rib on a Barbie. I wonder if Stig is a fan of Jacinda. What do you think of Jacinda?
The horse.
Completely violate you.
But have you noticed these people become ugly? Because when she was young, she looked reasonably okay. Look at Blair. He was a reasonably handsome bloke. Look at him now. He's like, it's weird, isn't it? Now, Daisy, 44, says, evening all. I'm number 33 watching. One for you, Nathan. There we go. Do you remember the show's called The Prisoner? I think it was...
Was that in the 60s? Late 60s?
They did a remake of it and it was shit. The original's best. And they've done a reruns and it's with Patrick McGowan, who wrote it. And everybody had a number, not a name. He was number 6. And you say, I have a name, not a number. Calm down, number 6. Oh, it's brilliant. It was. The special effects were shit, but there's like people. It was like a vision of today that he had in the 60s. It's really amazing. Now it says here, Davros is the leader of the Daleks. Oh, is he? Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah,
yes.
A very
I am Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
Yes, I am exterminate old people. You know,
I have got no personality. I am just going to violate your human liberties.
Actually, as an ex-soldier, Steve, what did you think of seeing Starmer with his tin hat on and his bulletproof vest and everything? I think if someone fired a shot near him, he'd piss himself, wouldn't he? I mean, come on. I mean, it's like,
I must have missed that. Where was that? If it was on TV, it's pointless telling me because I wouldn't have seen it. I'm the first to slag off soldiers, by the way. So, let me put in my usual claim. If you're in the army, just leave, hand your kit in, do the right thing. If you're a copper, admit defeat, you're a loser. Nobody likes you. You'll always be a complete pillock. So you may as well hand your kit in and get a proper job where you're not violating everybody's human rights, because you're an order following numpty. But other than that, you're all great people. I'll buy you a pint. When you resign, I'll buy you all a pint down the pub.
Bloody hell, that's going to be a lot of money.
And then they get drunk for drink driving.
Yeah. Now, Hatchet, bloody hell, another late one. I'm late in Hello All. What do you think? He has to stand up in front and tell us the reason he's late. Yeah, that's it.
We haven't had the raspberry again tonight, have we?
We haven't. Now, I think Jacinda is, Jacinda is a bloke. To Jacinda. Yeah. Is she, is she, he, or it still floating around? Now, Stig says, can't write what I think of Jacinda. It's a bloody strange name. Have you ever heard of someone called Jacinda? Sounds like a sort of a.
Have you never seen her? I've seen her on news articles. During the health emergency. I mean, if that wasn't enough, just listening to her to realise that the government is the biggest bunch of complete lunatics on the face of the earth. Just watch reruns of her. What a complete clown!
Oh my God!
When you think about it, even just the name is Jack Indar. so she's basically saying bloke.
By the way, you'll love this. She took away the New Zealand gun ownership on March the 22nd. That's when she announced, "Get rid of your guns. We don't want you to be able to defend yourselves against the tyranny that we're going to bring to you in 6 months' time." March the 22nd.
Who would not like to do? What bloke would you remember the film where Clint Eastwood says, "Go ahead, punk, make my day." Who would not like to do that to the Prime Minister? Go ahead, punk, make my day.
Which one?
Yes, because actually the Prime Minister is really the Governor of the Bank of England. Actually, Jacinda should be. Oh, this is what you said, Paul. Should be running at the 2:00 at York. Many years ago, I went with a girlfriend who didn't have much of a sense of humour, so it was really not a very good relationship from the start off. And she used to like going to the cinema and seeing these real shitty films. And we were sitting there one evening, and there was a documentary about Princess Anne's horses. And I get the giggles. I'm a very bad giggler. And there's this horse all steaming hot, and Princess Anne gets an ice pack and shoves it up his arse. Something's not funny about that, but I got the bleeding giggles. I couldn't stop laughing. Are you drunk or something? No. But I'm trying to think of all miserable stuff. But it says here, Marlene says, I'm a guardian, earth angel, and I see the whole collective and care about where humanity is going. So I totally understand all. And Daisy, I think that's Day for Z, says, Chris, you have a purple aura. Yes, it's because of the microphone. Purple auras are also associated with a strong connection to the universe, an unseen life, and microphones with an LED at the top as well. Sorry about that. I'll try to say,
oh no! We've looked behind the curtain. It's just an old bloke operating the machines.
Oh, hang on. But all my stuff's, my things drooped. It's got all droopy.
There's a lot of unseen life in the McDonald's takeaway, isn't there?
Oh, Christ, I say. Clear Pip claimants is Davros. Yes. And we got here, Stig says, a lot of people put the middle finger up to that law. Yes, in New Zealand, do you do the 2-finger salute or the single finger? Because over here it's the 2-finger salute. And of course in America it's the 1-finger salute. I think in New Zealand you might be the 1-finger salute. I don't know. Well, do you find... Sorry.
I was going to say, if I was in New Zealand, this would be my finger. You know, Jacinda. Starmer. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that.
Go ahead, punk. Make my day. Do you find, though, Steve, when you're riding your bike, motorists are very kind. They let you know that you still got 2 wheels on your bike. Like that. But for someone, they keep calling me Richard Head. Why? I just don't understand. It's weird, look, there's only you on the bike, you see, so you haven't got any asylum seekers on your back of your bike. So it's nice to tell you, you know.
Yeah.
Is it the brand of bicycle that you ride? It's not, because you used to have bags with head on, didn't you? Remember the old gym bags with head on?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah. But Stig says 1 finger can't afford the 2.
Hey, good lad. I'm guessing Stig's a bloke, but you know, good lad living down there in New Zealand. I mean, some of the stuff Jacinda comes out with, dear Lord, what a complete maniac!
Wasn't she?
Keep your chin up.
Wasn't she seen in having a good old chinwag with our friend from what's his name, Klaus Schwab? Wasn't she seen in close quarters with him, or whatever?
Really close, like smooching on or something.
As in part of the club, should we say? And
she's not one of the Young Global Leaders Alliance, along with all the other Muppets.
I think she's in charge of dentistry.
Oh Christ! But was it you will earn nothing and be happy? Yes, we will. He won't. He'll have what we have. But now it says, oh well, I tried. I thought it was funny. What was that, Stephen Truth Seeker? He said, clear PIP claimant is Davros.
Oh yeah, because they're all a bunch of.
Oh yeah, got it. Sorry, mate, bit slow there. Yeah, thanks. That's it. Thanks, Steve.
It's a bit like all the health ministers. Have you seen the clip of them? The health ministers from across the world. They look like they've all
Belgium.
Oh my God!
Have you seen that one from Belgium? She makes her beast look thin. Looks like anorexia.
Yeah. This is what we're voting for. This is what we're paying tax for. Come on, be an anarchist.
Look at Jacinda,
our health minister. Wasn't Chris Whitty the health minister at that time?
Yes, Chris Whitty was. Yeah, where's it? He's still around, isn't he?
He was to me. It looks like, you know, when you got them balloons with a face on, and it starts to deflate. That's what he looks like to me. That's what I picture when I picture one that's just started to shrivel up a bit. It's still got a bit of air in it, but it's on its way out. And
yeah. Can you imagine though? Can you imagine though getting run over and regaining consciousness and seeing that bastard looking over you?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
It could be worse. It could be Matt Hancock. Oh, I've got a special medication for you. No, give me the truck.
Says it, Jacinda, DJ B2 says Jacinda was a young global leader.
Yeah.
And
I thought she was,
Jojo Gizmo says Jacinda Hardon. Jacinda. What a surname, Hardon. Has got
proves it's a bloke.
Yeah, proves it. Has got a top job working for Prince William now. Well, she's
really?
Or something. Does he ride her? You know, get out there, that's it. You know.
Well, he's probably a bird. They're all inverts, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Oh, they are
He's another imbecile. Prince William. Anyone in the royal family, you're all a bunch of sycophants and imbeciles. You need to step down, you complete losers. Every single one of you. I only work for you for the money. Do you not get it? The king. I'm talking to the king here.
Yeah.
If the king's tuning in, I only work for him for the money.
But to
Prince
Prince
Harry,
Harry,
fake anyway, isn't he?
was he really protected when he was in the army? I mean, did a bullet come anywhere near him at all? I don't know. I mean,
the king.
No, Harry. Harry.
Oh, Harry.
I mean, Was
I was actually out in the same country as him at one stage. In fact, he was only he wasn't far from where I was. Put it that way.
Really? Was he in a deck chair sunning himself, or?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say much on that. To be fair, but
no, I understand.
Hey, fair play.
I understand. I'm pro.
If anyone's been to a war zone, and that includes members of the royal family, guess what? It's a dangerous place to be. So hats off to you there. But the only thing is, you shouldn't have been there in the first place, because all wars are illegitimate and all forms of war are violations of natural law. The end. That's why this should never, ever happen. It's all garbage, it's all money making.
Thing is, when was this country ever really threatened? When you think about it, during World War II, we're not threatened by Germany. We declared war on Germany. We weren't threatened. First World War, we had a navy that could have blown the German navy out sky high. We weren't threatened then. And somebody suggested that the worst war this country has ever been involved with was the Civil War. Because statistically, more people got killed in that Civil War than almost any other war.
English Civil War.
English Civil War. That is statistically. I mean, obviously, in the First World War, millions got killed, but there wasn't. But the English Civil War was pretty gruesome, you know.
But then, whilst all these people were dying, the Rothschild family were making a fortune on every death. And especially when things like where you learn about the Zyklon B was supplied by one of those families, and the same with the IBM machines, and wasn't the footage of Germans drinking Coca-Cola? Well, I wonder where they may have got that from, because I'm sure there weren't vending machines out on the ships and stuff that they were travelling on. I'm sure they would, oh, hang about it, lads, should we just get a Coca-Cola before we go shoot these people over here?
Yeah.
The way propaganda works, though, is you don't have to fool everybody. You just have to fool the dumb people. And there's enough dumb people to subvert and influence the people who actually get it. And I know yourselves and a lot of your listeners will understand. There's a lot of people in the truth movement. There's certainly a lot more people nowadays realize that what we've taken for granted, as I did as a young child, a young man, pretty much my whole army career bought into the whole system of lies. But when you look deeper into these aspects, you realize that these were all, the whole of humanity's fallen hook, line, and sinker for mass mind control. All BS.
And
they still do.
That's right. Chris Lipthorpe said the king who rents his land to Ministry of Defence. Or as my father used to call it, Misery of Defence. That's what my dad used to call it, Misery of Defence. And
Chris is a top lad. I know Chris, by the way. He's a really excellent bloke. So, thanks for tuning in, mate. And Chris runs several truther groups. Very, very proactive I've done talks for his groups before. He's really proactive in that respect. So,
brilliant.
Nice one, mate.
Could he do with coming on this radio show at some point then?
Yeah, why not? If he wants to.
Chris would make a great guest, yeah.
Yeah. We got here this is Hereditary Skepfoot. Not sure I can pronounce this.
Nosferatu.
And that as well. Thanks for that. Jakada Hardon. Yes, what a surname. But what
Nosferatu was a vampire.
Yes, in that film.
Oh, with the teeth, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yes. What about that downhill skier, Austrian, called Fanny Schmeller? Do you remember? That was her actual name, Fanny Schmeller.
Sorry. You're making that up.
No, it's true. And
I'm not searching that one.
You look that up. Her name was Fanny
I'm not searching
Schmeller.
that on Google.
Get out.
There was on a quiz show, and the compere of the quiz show couldn't stop laughing. And he apparently apologised to her afterwards, but that was her name. She's a downhill skier, Austrian, called Fanny Schmeller.
How to make a name for yourself.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris.
But the thing is, I think, again, we should change things by the way we say things. So the police are no longer the police, stormtroopers. The council tax, it's not tax. It is. I actually look on the council tax as what the mafia have, and that is
extortion racket. Yeah,
it's a protection racket. Because let's face it, they're supposed to protect your house, but they don't. So what's the difference? I mean, I would say paying the mafia will probably be you get a better service from the mafia than you would do your local council.
Yeah,
because they send the boys around if there's any problems. I think you've had a bit of a problem. But I actually look on government as the mafia. They're worse than the mafia because they've got all this they got the best PR our money can pay for.
And they have control of everything. They control every aspect of life.
Yeah. Speaking of PR and speaking of tax, for example, 170 million of it went in the year 2020 on paper-based propaganda for a very specific health emergency. And I'm not talking about the TV campaigns, the radio, and the internet stuff. I'm talking about the posters they had at bus stops. 170 million pounds went on paper-based garbage to lie, manipulate, and deceive the honest, everyday folk of our nation.
Yeah, the
thing is that with the propaganda that still continues even now with things like vaping, where it was described when it first came out as this is a better solution to smoking, but it works out that smoking is actually better for your health, and the vaping, the shops in particular, they're aimed at children. If you look at a lot of the stores that sell them, they look like a stationery store that sells highlighters and stuff, which is going to attract younger people through to start smoking at an early age. It's
weird. Have you ever smoked, Paul or Steve? Have you ever smoked?
Nope, never.
No?
Yeah, I've had the odd spliff.
But,
I'm allowed to say that. Oh no, he's confessed quick. Nino. Yeah, when I was on stag in the army, I used to smoke spliffs all the time, along with all the other lads. Yeah.
Well, apparently, pipe smoking is not addictive because it's the stuff they put in the tobacco and the paper and that makes it addictive. But apparently, smoking real organic tobacco is not addictive at all.
It's good for you,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I do like the smell of tobacco, to be quite fair.
Yeah,
I mean, when someone smokes a cigar as well, that always smelled quite nice as well. And the same with the pipe as well. I know. This might be a plug, but Richard Vobes, he's always promoting pipe smoking and how much better it is for your health. Or I suppose ultimately the ideal situation is not to smoke at all, but should you wish to do so, then yeah.
Does he smoke a pipe?
Yeah.
I can see him with a pipe. He kind of looks the part.
Yeah, but there is something. How many pipe smokers do you see today? When I was a lad, there's loads of pipe smokers. I haven't seen a pipe smoker apart from Richard Vobes. I haven't seen one for yonks. Hello, there's a gentleman called Paul turned up. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Well, you're all having too much fun. You're all having a bit too much fun. So hi, and I just thought I'd rock. I just did all the chats about pipes, and I think we need to renationalize pipes. They should be compulsory. Yeah.
Yes.
And slippers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever smoked, Paul? Have you ever had ever smoked?
Yes. Yes, I have. Can't say it was that great, but I like the pipe. but it got broke. Somebody bought me a pipe because I was banging on about it. They're very good. You can rattle in your teeth. You can't. If I had it here, a bit like a pen. You can do this sort of thing with the pipe. And then the other good thing is, if you've got a dog, you can tap out the ash on his head and have a little pile of tobacco ash on the top of the dog's head. You're not when it's too hot, otherwise they'll jump around a bit. But I always thought that was quite a good thing with the pipe. And yes, I also have a cravat. In fact, I haven't got enough. I just want loads of cravats. Of course, I'm wearing one right now, drinking a brandy. And
nice!
in my silk dressing gown.
It all sounds rather reserved and dignified. And here we are talking about let's completely eradicate the scumbag police and become anarchists. I don't know what you think about that, Paul.
I'm completely with you. I just think we should do it dressed elegantly, charmingly,
with
a brandy in one hand and a shotgun in the other. And that would work out fine.
Are you in your study then at the moment, Paul?
Of course I am, yes. I am. I'm actually Richard's really into his pipes, isn't he? He's always talking about all the different types of pipes.
Yes. Yeah. But do you reckon we could have a Clint Eastwood by Sir John Gielgud? You could go up to the police officers and say, "Go ahead, punk. Make my day." That'd be not the same ring.
John
to it,
Gielgud is Dirty Harry. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, go ahead, punk. Make my day.
Chief Inspector Forsyth, played by Larry Lawrence. A genuine gritty New York cop drama with John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier, completely miscast. Very posh.
Because
I'd pay
I'm
good money to see that film. That'd be great. That'd be really good.
Yeah. What about the film about D-Day, The Longest Day? We could actually miscast some people in that. I don't think Larry was in that, was he? Sir John Gielgud. Oh, we got to land on Normandy.
There needs to be more Geordies in roles like that, I think. Just to add a touch of... Yeah. There needs to be downplayed. We need more Geordies, yeah. Jimmy Nail, he'd be a great one.
Yeah, Jimmy Nail.
Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah. Lots of her.
Yeah.
He must be better.
He's actually a good singer. You ever heard his songs?
No.
He's had some great songs out.
Really?
It's that thing that all actors want to sing and all singers want to act. No, all singers want to be comedians and all comedians want to act and all actors want to sing. It's something like that anyway. It's something like that.
Yes. There's, now it says here, Stephen Truthseeker says, there's Misery of Defence Base up the road from me. And then we got here, Marlene says, we need to come together in unity and unconditional love and stop feeding the system, let it collapse. Yes, I agree. Yes. And Hadji likes your joke, Paul. That's good. That's it. And stop paying CT.
Yeah, with an S on the end. Stop paying government CTS.
Yes.
See you next Tuesday,
Yes.
Nice one. That point earlier about unconditional love, that's called agape. And that's another thing that, again, is probably out of the general understanding, certainly of, most day-to-day folk, but that literally is what it is, unconditional love. And if we've got that, because we've got an understanding and a general good well-being towards our fellow brethren, then agape love is what we need in the human race. That's why crimes will diminish when all of these powers, and they will go, all of these government, police,
I think they know, their days are numbered. And Aunt Sally, by the way, thanks Aunt Sally for that tea. You notice I'm sort of, hey man, I'm on that tea. Very nice. Jimmy Now had a hit record, I recall. It was a really good, I don't remember it. I just don't remember that.
It was Crocodile Shoes. Crocodile Shoes.
Oh, is that Jimmy Nail I hear singing in the...
Yeah, it's like in the room.
It's all
like
uncanny.
a handsome version of Jimmy Nail with a really great voice, gravelly voice.
Jimmy Nail was a singer before he was an actor, Jojo Gizmo. He used to wear a dress and hobnail boots. Doesn't.
I didn't know that.
Cowboy Dreams. Was it Cowboy Dreams?
Yeah.
By Jimmy Nail.
I'm not singing that.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all quite relieved about that, actually.
Little
Steve.
crocodile.
I think that's quite good. Yeah.
But we're talking about propaganda. I think one of your favourite people, Paul, is Sefton Delmer, isn't it? I mean, he's your hero, isn't he? I don't think.
Wasn't he the bass player in Jimmy Nail's band, Sefton Delmer?
It sounds like that, doesn't it? Yes. It actually sounds like an embarrassing venereal disease. I'm afraid he's gone down with Sefton Delmer. Oh no, he hasn't, has he? You know, I mean, it's sort of. I was saying earlier
they bought a very big radio station for him in 1941 at Crowborough, which is not a million miles from where I'm sat. It's in West Sussex, so it's just up the road from here.
Really?
And yeah, it was the most powerful radio station ever built. Ever.
Good heavens. Really?
There's 500,000 watts. Yes. It's absolutely off the charts. Massive. Monster machine. And they built it in Crowborough. RCA built it for them in America. It's not very interesting, this is it. But apparently the building's still there. And it was to do psychological warfare and beam it at the Germans. So
yes,
that was come back, Sefton Delmer, all is forgiven. Well, not really.
Yes,
but
he was so good at it that people still believe it today. That's the thing, and that is propaganda, because wars, as I'm sure you agree, Steve, I'm virtually parroting what you're saying, are lost or won in the minds and hearts of people. And and when you look at Second World War, it was, we're going to win, and they're putting it into people all the time. But I don't know about you. What's the temperature like up where you are, Steve? I mean, is it as hot as it is here?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm starting to feel the warmth here. It's quite warm.
Well,
I don't know what temperature we've got.
It's 32 in this room where I am now. That's in its
still.
90s. That is pretty hot.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
But
you need to follow some government health advice.
Really? What's that? Put an ice pack up my arse or something? I don't know.
Open a window.
Well,
yes.
Here's the thing. In the new world, in the future, following government health advice will never happen. It'll be the worst thing you can do.
Well, you think all the things they've told us that you can reverse. Sunshine is bad for you. No, it isn't. It's good for you. Red meat. Don't eat fat. Fat is good for you. Red meat is good for you. What's the other thing? Salt, yes.
Salt, brilliant for us.
Proper salt is good for you, but salt, table salt is crap for you.
Tap water.
Tap water. Yes.
Yeah. It's marginally better than the sewage.
Yes. Mind you, I think where I live, it tastes as if it's been passed by a local council. It's awful, you know. What's the tap water like where you are?
Yeah, they pissed in it before you got it.
Or me, or Paul.
Yeah. Well, no, Paul English. You Paul.
The tap water here's got a lot of chalk in it, because the ground's all chalky around here.
Oh, you lucky thing.
Yeah, it's right, chalky. And so, you know, if I ever need some chalk to actually do some graffiti, there's no shortage of materials, the supply. Just pick the ground up and start daubing away. But it goes into the water, and the water goes in kettle-like. And you look in kettle after a few months, and it's just a lot of soot in there. But I use a water distiller. I drink distilled water. So we have to clean that out just as often, maybe once a month or whatever, because it's just all this silt builds up that would have been going through your body. And so it might actually be quite good for you. I don't know. We've coped with all sorts of stuff, really. The body gets used to all sorts of things. But you look at it and you go, I think I'm probably glad that didn't go through, actually. It's probably better for me to not have it going in. You know, so distilled water is top of my, it's always number one on my health list, really. Now,
Patrick in Wisconsin, who is the cheese ambassador for Frockham Hall, said, Paul, XER had 1 million watts. ZZ Top wrote a song about it. I didn't know that. called Heard It on the X. It was based in Mexico across the border from Roswell, Texas, hence was called a border blaster. Roswell, now that's interesting, isn't it? UFOs, because they reckon if you're subjected
that's
to
a
high
powerful
levels
radio station. Can we build a 1,000,000-watt station over here in England? Let's get one built. Maybe you can put one up at Fockham Hall Towers and get 1,000,000 watts. Yeah,
you could get
blast the whole of England
playing as well.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Brits could tune in. Sorry, carry on.
Don't get crap like Jeremy Vine on there. It'd be fine.
Oh Christ, Jeremy Vine. Oh, Jeremy Vile, as I prefer to call him.
Yeah.
Careful, you'll end up in jail.
Is he the housewife's favourite? Is he? Is he the housewife's favourite? Do they love him? Do they?
He's a a sight about that man. Oh.
Is he a man? Work? I didn't think he was a man. Is he? Are you sure? I don't mean that he's a woman. I just think he's a male. He doesn't look very manly to me. Oh no.
No. I think him and Alex Belfield should have a fight in the ring. Celebrity battle.
Good idea.
Yeah.
They don't like one another, do they? They're not friends. Is that
right?
One
of them ended up in jail, but I don't think it was Jeremy Vine who ended up in jail. Put it that way.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. He's out now, though, isn't
he? Funny, Elton John likes to fight in the ring as well.
I thought this was a family show.
It was up until 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Was it?
Oh yes, we've got to say goodbye to Soapbox and Radio Homeland.
It's all right. Still going out on Soapbox.
All right then.
Yeah, I've spoken to the fat controller, and you've got a pass, so you can just keep.
Oh, that's all right then. So banging on. Oh, by the way, I adjusted the sound volumes because of the naughty boy. I didn't do it right, and I think the volume's all right now. I think
it sounds fantastic. I know, actually, although this is technically boring and a bit radio-y, we're actually sending your signal out slightly differently this week, not that you would know. And I've been on my walk. The show sounds really good. The audio quality is really good tonight.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we could just make you use this StreamYard studio all the time, Eric, you could reduce my workload by at least, a lot.
Right, I'll do the OCR via Rumble.
The OBS, you mean, not the optical character.
No, OBS.
Well, you do the OBS. Yeah, we'll get sorted.
And because quite honestly, that bleeding Rumble studio, it's got a mind of its own. I think it booted me out last night. Steve sounds better
with a headset. You sound way better. So it just all makes a difference because it's just said old Priestley down here in Sussex.
Do we sound professional now then?
Sorry?
What's that, Paul?
Do we all sound professional now then?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Only if you're getting paid. That's all that counts.
I'll look forward to the chat then, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah. You'll send you some fuck bobs in the mail.
Yes.
I'll accept a pencil, a Fockham Hall pencil.
Oh, we got the Fockham Hall. No, hang on, the Fockham Hall Wonder pencil. You see, you forgot the word wonder.
Hey, come on, that's grand. That is. Is that a red one?
The Fockham Hall Wonder pencil. There it is.
With a razor?
No, it's because it's got a rubber at the end. So there we are. So if you're in America, it's an eraser, not a rubber, because a rubber means something else in America. What you got a bloody condom on the end of your pencil for? You know.
Eric, the last time
Eric, that's a wizard marketing idea. Why don't you do that? Then it really will be the Wonder Pencil. You can use it for all sorts of things. Comes with free condom hidden in the eraser cap.
I think you also missed an opportunity there to actually paint it black with the white top, and then you could have sold it as a wand.
Yes, it looks like a wand. So
the Fockham Hall wand.
Missed opportunity.
And you can cast spells with it because you can write words with it and spell out words, can't you? See where I'm going here with all this?
Oh, and also, this is my impersonation of Sooty in the nude. There it is, see, he's got the wand.
It's a bit rude, that. Oh, I don't.
It is a bit rude. It is.
It's a good. I'm glad most people are not seeing this on video because that was
exceedingly lovely show.
Full frontal, wasn't it?
It was full frontal.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Patrick says, hang on, what's he said? He said, Brits could tune in on AM radios when conditions were right. That's that one in, was it Mexico?
Yeah, 1,000,000 watts is quite a bit. The RCA, I mean, the one at Crowborough was built by RCA, and it was the biggest one they'd built up to that point. So the one that Patrick says is twice the size. Yeah. But it's pretty cool, isn't it? And I think the whole story is a pirate radio, over here. There was one called Radio London. And, of course, everybody's aware of Radio Caroline, which still kind of exists, I think, as an online type thing. It's pretty cool, all that stuff. It really was. It's pretty fantastic. And Radio London was brilliant. And I was too young because, apart from which, I didn't live in London. I was up in Yorkshire, so we couldn't even tune into it. But, lots of really great ideas, sticking huge transmitters on boats out in the estuaries and stuff. Can't get us. It's a cool idea.
I met the engineer of Radio London, and he started legally a pirate radio station, broadcasting from a caravan on a farm just round the corner to me. And I met him, and because when it was closed down, he grabbed all the gear, and they got a license for the weekend only. And it was so powerful, I could hear it as far away as about 15, 20 miles. I could still hear it. I mean, it's a very locally type thing. But they was playing all the stuff from the 60s, from the pirate days. And they had a couple of disc jockeys on there that were on the original Radio London. Isn't that boring? But did you know that they were closed down illegally? Sorry, you're going to say, Steve?
No, I've got a slightly different point, so you best continue with yours, otherwise mine's going off on a bit of a tangent.
They made out that they were broadcasting on an emergency services frequency, which was a lie, which was propaganda against them. And those ships were legally outside, I think it was the 5-mile limit, and they were boarded by Marine Commandos, which it was illegal to do because they were on the high seas. They were not within our territory. So that was all illegal, what we did. Yeah. You was going to say, Steve?
Oh, yeah. If you don't mind, if we can backtrack to the bit where we went to Roswell, because Paul might pick up a few numbers from this. 1947, everybody knows about the Roswell incident. So it actually... It was actually a rancher who went to the local police station in the town called Corona, which, of course, has got quite a lot of, you could say, occult references, the word Corona. But the date he went to make his report about a downed alien spacecraft or whatever it was the 7th of July, 7/7. That's a very particular number. Yeah, 77 Brigade. The date of the 7/7 tube bombings. The date that Boris Johnson submitted his resignation, and many, 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 many other references, certainly in occult themes, to the number 77, such as Christ in Gematria's number 77. Again, but without going off on too much of a tangent on the occult numerology, 1947 links to the 47th problem of Euclid, which is a massively important and significant occult theme, especially to Freemasons. But here's another Freemasonic number, the number 33, and we'll see that in an official FBI report, which came out, and you'll love this, on the 22nd of March, 1950. The 22nd of March is a satanic season of sacrifice, but the report went on to claim 3 aliens 3 foot tall, 3 foot tall aliens or humanoids.
Ronnie Corbett.
That's a good point. But I actually think these aliens are a big psyop. I think it's a lot of old crap, honestly. I really do. Because if something was that intelligent to come here, they wouldn't come in a tin can, would they? They'd be here, they'd be amongst us, which I think they are.
If they had any signs of an intelligent life, these aliens, what they'd do is they'd send a mothership and they'd find the biggest intergalactic bomb they could, and they'd drop it on the seats of Parliament and all the other government buildings. And then they'd be like, oh, we've done the human race a massive favour.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, can you imagine? But they probably think we've got issues. I mean, they probably look down upon us at Christmas time and think those earthlings are very strange. They're actually stuffing something called stuffing up a turkey's arse. They're very odd, aren't they? That's some ceremony they do around Christmas. They really have got issues, that lot, these earthlings.
Just going back to what you were saying a minute ago, Steve, about the London bombings. I wanted to. I had a look at this before, and sorry, yes, it's going to briefly mention the word train. One of the cars that was blown up on the Circle line was the vehicle number was 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6. I think it was more than just a coincidence that was picked.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
And the Piccadilly line one was 311, which I think 113 in reverse is to do with the Satanic world as well.
One thing I do recall from that particular incident, I know there's a lot more to it than certainly what I can remember, but I'm pretty sure that one or some of the bombs went off at a particular time, and it was something like it was either 11 minutes past 9 or 11 minutes to 9. I can't remember which one, but that's not the only significant incident, terror-related thing where things have happened at 9:11 or 11 minutes to 9. The devil is in the detail. That's what we've got to remember.
Well, it says on here a code amber alert was declared by London Underground at 9:19, which if you turn that upside down is 616.
616. Yeah.
It's the alternative number of the beast.
Yeah. And exactly. What about Americans going to Vietnam, aged 19? There's something in that, 19.
That number is massively significant. I mean, I'm probably plugging the wrong thing here because you can't get on BitChute, but I done a series of presentations called 19th Nervous Breakdown, because 19 has got a massive, it's a significant number. It's essentially 1 and 9 is the number of beginnings and endings. So, the health emergency number 19, was it just coincidental? I think not. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. But it also runs in alignment with the metatomic lunar cycle. The solar cycle, I believe, has got a 19-year ratio. So it's there's lots of significance to it. Here's an interesting one for you. I'm using very sketchy memory. 19 is the number of I think it's the Chinese god known as Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is associated with the number 19. It's a goddess of various things, but she's associated with the number 19, like her birthday was on the 19th, etc., etc. Again, it'll all relate to the lunar cycles, which is why Kuan Yin is usually depicted in white. And so there's a lot of significance between Kuan Yin. Hey, Maureen. Kuan Yin and again, if anyone recalls from the time of the health emergency, there was 2 hospital ships. One was in New York and one was in Los Angeles. Round about the time the opening barrage of the health emergency, there was 2 hospital ships. One was called Mercy, and the other, I forget the name of the other one. But if you think the 2 pillars of Freemasonry, one of which is known as mercy, the other one known as sometimes called beauty or severity, depending on the system that you read into. The 2 numbers of the ships, one of them was 19 and the other one was 20. And again, there's loads of significant references. And if anyone was to look at my presentations where I've got a little bit more up-to-date knowledge on these things, I do go into a little bit more detail on these instances. 19th Nervous Breakdown on BitChute anyway.
Interesting. That's interesting. Now we got here, what is it now? Truth and Truth Seeker reckons that the aliens are government. The ETs are genuine beings. Well, if you want proof that there's an alien running us, look at Keir Starmer. He looks like something from another bleeding planet, that bloke. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lord.
Welcome back to Chris Whitty.
That's proof
That's
of
an unidentified species, isn't it?
Oh, bloody hell, yeah. Then we got here, what is it? Edwina curry and eggs. Yes. Yes. This year is a number 9. That's interesting. Now, by the way, yes. By the way, happy birthday, Grandad, for Saturday. It would have been his birthday. He'd have been 137 years old. He's let himself go a bit recently, but there we go. Yes. But for the next show, someone suggested I should wear my grandfather's wedding suit. So I went down to the cemetery with a shovel and hold on. It's a sick one.
I say.
Yes.
I hope you give him a back when you were finished.
Yeah. He's let himself go a lot, you know. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I think this heat is really getting to me. Is it with you, Mr. English and Paul and...
Yeah, it's a bit soporific, isn't it? It's really warm down here.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a really great walk this evening whilst I was listening to you guys, and Seafront's fab, and I love it. I actually love this weather. It just sort of makes you want to drop off a lot of the time. Just want to nod off, don't you, a little bit? It's tricky, but
I love it.
I don't mind it. I love it. It means that we've had a summer. The weather this year has been absolutely fantastic so far.
Yeah.
So it's the only thing that works. It's not the youngsters, but at least the weather's working.
Do you ever get mugged by seagulls down there, Paul?
Mugged by them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There was a few. How long would it be? About 5 weeks back, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. I was out having a walk, and I was a bit peckish. I don't know why I was peckish. It'd be about 4:30 in the afternoon. I was just going on a big long walk. I thought, I haven't eaten any lunch. I'll just grab a sandwich, you know. So I go into this little shop, grab a sandwich, come out. It's never ever happened to me before. I hadn't even taken it out of the cardboard thing. A seagull came down and just took the whole lot, right, with the cardboard and everything. I didn't even open the damn thing up. So I shouted at it quite loudly, and it was too much for it. And I chased it across the road because I was cross, right? You know what it's like.
But you were, yeah.
And it just couldn't keep it in its beak because it wasn't the raw sandwich. It had gone for the cardboard box. It just couldn't find sufficient purchase with its beak. And so I looked at it, and then I was walking along. It dive bombed me about 3 or 4 times afterwards, very keen to get the sandwich. And I was hoping it was going to come near because I wanted to punch it. If it had come near, I would have got it. They're not that quick when they're fluttering. But they're, so... And it was kind of a tragic view. Middle-aged man swinging fists at seagulls for stealing chicken sandwich. Oh, those were the days. Actually, I thought, remember, as it was coming for a chicken sandwich, I thought it was cannibalism almost, isn't it, really? So, anyway, but never mind.
I was in Eastbourne one day, and some guy was... He was sat at a restaurant, and he just got this pasty out on his plate, and this seagull came down and took the whole thing off him.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining. I thought... He wasn't very happy, but I thought I was laughing my head off at it.
No, they're quite courageous or greedy or whatever. They're basically viewed as flying rats, I suppose. The thing is, they're quite handsome, but we get loads of them being born all through the year because they'll nest on the rooftops around here, and some of them just don't really make it off the ground. They get hit by cars, so there's quite a lot of sort of roadkill around for a bit until they catch on, but there's always a few barely have any life at all because they just can't work out what a car is. And... But yeah, but they eat really well here. I mean, they fly out to sea and go fishing every now and again. You see huge, but mainly, I suppose, they live off the garbage now around here. All the garbage is consumed between them and the foxes. A lot of foxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there's quite a few around here, and they're very tame, the foxes. I walked past one the other day, and he was within about 2 foot of me. Couldn't give monkeys. They're not they're not timid. They're used to humans, and that's a little bit disturbing because you think, because they can be aggressive little bastards if they want to be, foxes. And I don't know of any foxes attacking humans. Do you?
They don't sound good, do they? When that sound they make is a cross between a sort of dog and a cat, both of them with their testicles in a vice or something. It's really not good. It's an extremely unattractive sound. It's just a sort of shrieking, hysterical creature sound. It's
I get that round here as well.
That's quite good, that is. Yeah. That's quite good, Eric. You can do some field recordings. Eric von Essex does the common and garden fox.
Eric von Essex does kicking his neighbour's dog's testicles when he after the dog tried to bounce his leg.
Latest music album from the Fockham Hall Record Company. Eric von Essex does domestic animals and other interesting sounds. I can just see the LP sleeve now with you grinning or something, holding a puppy or something. Yeah, that'd be great. Straight in at number 149, it's Eric von Essex. Animal Farm. Yeah, there you go. Brilliant.
That was the kind of entertainment I was picturing, mind.
Yes. Because we're going to do, was it a family show, aren't we, for the breakfast and things like that? So that's what we're looking at. So that'd be good, wouldn't it?
All we want to know for a breakfast show is what have you had for breakfast? I'm not really interested in anything else.
Yeah.
The news is boring, isn't it? I just want to know what people are having for breakfast. Marmite? Are you Marmite? Marmalade? I do both.
Is that
sometimes
thing?
I have peanut butter and jam and banana on toast. That's just absolutely mega. It's like a little brick. And
nice.
And then you don't eat cereals, and that's good. We could talk about the evils of cereals. I don't know how long a breakfast show would last. You're probably going to have to do 3 or 4 episodes. Everybody kind of get it. Then we could do eggs, bacon. I don't do bacon and eggs though anymore.
Eggs, definitely.
Sausage
eggs,
sandwiches.
very good for you. I tell you something. When I go to the farm, I sometimes get the eggs warm. They've just taken them from the chickens. So we know some eggs. They're actually warm from the chickens.
Oh,
so
I
that's
thought you
how
meant you
fresh
get them warm. When you said you get them warm, I thought you meant that you're the person that sits on the eggs and keeps them warm.
Well, a bit bored actually. Yeah, there's another egg.
Can I sit on them? They get a bit cold.
Well, that's no yolk, is it? Sorry. But
I guess it saves them shelling out for a chicken.
Oh,
dear.
Sorry.
It does. That's very good. I can just see the local man likes to hatch eggs. Picture of you sat on a nest. I don't like them getting cold, says Eric von Essex. Yeah,
animals are attracted to me for some unknown reason, because when I went to Delicious, which is where I get the raw milk, there's chickens walking around there, and as I'm getting out of the machine, this chicken fascinated in what I was doing. So I started speaking to her. I said, "Good morning, madam." And there's a couple killing themselves laughing because I was talking to the chicken like it's a Victorian woman, lady. Hello, madam. What are you doing here today? But no, it's nice to see that we still got farms like that, and I think we need more of them where you can get eggs straight from the chickens. I had one today that was a blue egg. Have you had a blue egg? Anybody? Very nice. Bloody great yolks, and the shells are really thick because they're organic, but they cost less than what you buy at Tesco's. So there we go, not bad. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. It's much appreciated. I don't know about you. Are you knackered? Because it's this weather. I don't get much sleep because of it. It's so bloody hot. What about you, Paul? You been having a good kip, or is it just?
Who, me or the other Paul? It's really confusing having all these Pauls, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I'll be called Paul.
I sleep okay. But I always wake up about 4:30 every night anyway. All through the year, I always wake up at 4:30. I don't know why. But I just wake up at 4:30, do Sudoku on my phone for about 30 minutes, then conk out again. I don't even know why I do that, really. It's sad, isn't it?
Mine's
sad.
Mine's 5 o'clock.
Oh, right, okay.
See, sleep-wise, these days I tend to sleep pretty well, but I find before I go off to sleep, I always say things like the Lord's Prayer, and every time I say that, I start yawning. Without fail, every night, yawn.
Right.
And that's, and generally sleep through to about 5, 6. And then nature calls and says you need to go to the loo, even though you think, I've got another hour yet, so I don't need to get up yet, but
Well, as I said,
I don't go to bed till then.
See
That's when I go to I go to bed like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
but I've got this problem. You see, I told Miles this, and I think I told you before, Paul, haven't I? That I use my bowels regularly at 6 o'clock every morning. And he said, "Well, what's wrong with that?" I said, "Well, I don't get out of bed till 7."
And on that messy note,
yes, we better zoom. Anyway, anybody like to say anything to the chat room and that? Thank you very much to our audience. And
I'll say a quick one if that's all right. Locke and Rose, Jeremy Locke, Mark Passio. Check those guys out, and then you'll end up like an anarchist like me. Cheers.
Anything, Mr. English, you would like to say?
No, I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for letting me lig around a bit. It was a great show. Really enjoyed listening to a lot of that early stuff. That was really good, and it's just good here. And I'll probably see you on Thursday for the show on Thursday, 8 o'clock.
Oh, thank
on
you.
Rumble and stuff.
Thank you.
So I don't know what we're going to talk about. Talk about breakfast and things like that. No, there's a
8
few
o'clock.
Things. We'll probably talk about that ape at Glastonbury. That's been quite fun, hasn't it? That's quite something.
What's that?
Not that I'm. Are you aware of that?
Oh, yes.
About that big speech? Yeah. That's grunting. That was really quite good, and all the sort of silly response to that. And but it's summer, and maybe we should just play lots of Beach Boys songs and just have ice creams. Oh, that's what I want to say. Yesterday I went out and I bought my one and only seaside. I buy one seaside ice cream a year at Cornet, and it was so blazingly hot yesterday. I did. It cost quite a bit though. It was £5 for a Cornet. Can you believe that?
Yeah, £5 for a Cornet. Bloody
well,
Nora.
I picked the biggest one I've got. I could have got one for £3, but I went, no. I'm only going to do it once a year, so it was quite a lot of ice cream, I have to tell you. Yeah, it was pretty good.
I like ice cream.
It was, yeah, I do. Yeah, New Zealanders eat per capita more ice cream per head than anybody else in the world, apparently. New Zealanders. So
really?
That might explain something to do with Jacinda Ardern's, or whatever her name is, teeth. I don't know why I'd say that. I don't know what it's got to do with her teeth at all. Oh, I'm not going to get to sleep now thinking about that.
No.
That mouth crammed with teeth. Good grief. Anyway.
I mean, is she married? I mean, what? I mean...
No, she's auditioned for the Roll of Red Rum, though, when they come to make it do the remake. I know that. She might get the part, you know.
I think they should kick her husband's white stick away, quite honestly.
Yeah, but got a husband?
I don't know. What would marry it? I don't know. Gorilla or something?
Yeah.
And anyway, Mr. Farts. Now, anything you'd like to say to the general our listeners or what viewers?
The same as always. Much love to everyone, and tag that like, and thank you for tuning in.
Oh, very good point. Thanks, Steve. Sorry, Paul. And it just leaves me to say, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.
Night, folks.
Good night.
And guess what? I haven't lined up the outro. Here we go. And good night. Thank you very much. And if you could kindly put your thumbs up, that would be very, very helpful. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It really does, help a lot. And if you're feeling particularly generous, you could buy me a coffee. Details are down in the description box. And of course, there's a website, all the W's, fockhamhallradio.com. That's long here. And why not pop into my Telegram channel? Again, details are in the description box. And also, you could also have a look at my Facebook page as well. That's also in the description box as well. Thank you very much, and good night, or if you're elsewhere in the world, good afternoon or